Welcome to Women TV India. This is Be The Change show, and the other half of my screen, my guest today is already there. And before I introduce her, let's say hi to her. Hi, Neha. How are you?
Hi, Jyothi, very well, and hello to everybody watching us.
Wonderful, Neha. Neha Wahi is a psychologist. She's a career guidance expert and parenting coach. There's a lot of combination she is into, and we'll know much about today's topic. Is going to be on wider aspect from parenting to psychological aspect of adolescents and middle age group and many other things. Now, first thing I want to ask you is, Neha, what is that one change which happened to you during pandemic?
I think the one change that happened not just to me but to everybody around, everybody listening to us will agree, is we lost fear. I think we've become very fearless.
Okay.
And we've realized that we are actually solution makers, not people who concentrate on problems, but people who
Mm-hmm.
generate solutions.
Mm-hmm.
COVID
Mm-hmm.
has been that opportunity for each one of us, whether we are kids, we are adults, we are parents, or we are professionals.
Okay.
So how we, turned around the entire job scenario, how we started
Mm-hmm.
reinforcing the WFH, the work from home, how
Okay.
students engaged in online education, how education
Mm-hmm.
remained uninterrupted, how
Mm-hmm.
medical facilities, legal facilities, online shopping, everything came to our doorstep. So I think
Correct.
one thing that each one of us, and especially me, will take away from this pandemic is my the biggest learning is that opportunity in adversity. It's a very famous saying, but I think
Same.
we've all
Yeah.
seen it today, that how we mother is the need of what do they say? Invention is the mother
Invention
of need.
is correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's
So
my take.
that's very true. That's very true, Neha, and that's absolutely what you're saying is bang on, and that's the need of the hour at present. So, Neha, you're also a parenting coach. Okay, so when it comes to parenting, it's a very difficult thing these days, especially what you can call these millennium kids are quite different from what we were 20 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever 25 years ago. Now parenting is becoming very difficult. I always ask all the parenting coaches that uh, why is that it's becoming so difficult for today's parents to handle at least a 10-year-old. Forget 10-year-old, even handling a 5-year-old is becoming so difficult. So why it has become, why this evolution of parenting is becoming like this?
Thank you for asking this question, Jyoti. This is the most common question I think that has come to me, and especially during the lockdown, because parents are very, very feeling very suffocated. The kids should be saying we are suffocated, but it's the parents who are feeling very stuck with the child in the house and don't know what to do. And
Correct.
you've raised a very important concern, and I'd love to speak about it. It's very close to my heart, and maybe that is why I took to the profession of a parent coach.
Hmm.
Uh, Firstly, my question is, who says parenting was easy 20, 25 years back? If
Okay.
we believe it was easy, I think we should pick up our phones and call our mothers and ask them. Were our mothers
Absolutely.
not worried equally about the careers of their sons or the safety of their daughters? I'm sorry that I'm
Correct.
having to use career for a son and safety for the daughter, even in such times. But let's, face the facts. This is the world we are living in. They were equally worried. The only difference that has come about, Jyoti, if we can consciously, as adults, as parents, accept the fact is it is a fight for control. Initially, when our parents were trying to control, we were submissive, we let them control. But probably this generation does not know the word control. And we
Correct.
don't know how to let go control as parents. Because we have also been raised like this, so have our parents and our grandparents. It's a ritual that's being followed over generations, that parents are supposed to control. But the moment we realize parents are supposed to guide, parents are supposed to co-opt in the journey of parenting or raising a child, I think the entire shift will start happening. And somewhere I
Absolutely.
personally feel we are very blessed. You tell
Very.
me, the wisdom that a child has today and a wisdom that a child had 25 years back, who would you rate higher?
Of course, now it's
Yeah.
obviously there's no question about it. But here,
So
I want to bring in another angle, Neha, is that if somebody does wrong, especially, I'm not telling every parent is like that. This is wrong, बोल के बोलते हैं, मुंह पे बोलते हैं. I mean, those days, I'm telling, if you take 20 years ago, I do a mistake, my mom used to say that this is wrong, Joe, we should never do that. Okay? So, but now, even if we say to them, the reflection is also very difficult from the parents and from the kids. So what we have to say, we can't tell them like in a serious tone. Earlier my mom used to beat me also. Now forget about beating. We can't even stare at them. मतलब वो भी गुनाह है. For that also that big thing is going on. So I'm saying that why is that? Is that too much of exposure to world by social media or by television or whatever? Is that true? That because that is one of the reason I just wanted to know from you.
I'll answer that.
Hmm.
Everything has changed. You know, the way we dress today, the way we eat today, the way we live today, the way we speak today, everything has
Hmm.
changed. The jobs that were then available 20, 30, 40 years back are becoming redundant. You know, the
Hmm.
opportunities that were available are no longer available or important. There is evolution in everything. We are seeing that evolution in our children as well. But again, I'm raising the same point. Is that evolution happening in parents as well? Or are we still holding to the same old ground? You know, Jyoti,
Oh.
time and again we say that we are we are blessed because we are raising a child, we are raising a life. But I think, it's time to start looking reverse. A child has the power to convert you into a parent that the child wants you to be. Please reflect upon what I'm saying. And these little children are our spiritual masters. The biggest lessons of our lives come from these children. The toughest situations come from them. Every time we are stuck in a situation, these children make us see who we are, how we are reacting or responding.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So now it is becoming difficult because we have raised a logical generation. We have told our children to ask questions. Why A
Correct.
for apple? Why not A for aeroplane?
Ah.
We were from a generation of Doordarshan, black and white, one
Correct.
hour on Sundays.
Sundays. Correct.
Today, what are we giving them? We are giving them gadgets. We are giving them social media. We are giving them smart TVs, and we are giving them the remote control.
Everything. Correct. Correct.
Every second, every single frame, it has thousands and millions of pixels inside moving, and their brains are moving at that speed. When we have brought them to that level where now the brain is working at that, that degree, or that in that
That
space,
phase. Correct.
we are expecting them to now tone down, right?
Absolutely. Correct. What you're saying
So
is
I think
perfect. Bang on.
that the more we evolve as parents, the better the journey is going to be. And yes, again, maybe staring at the child does not work.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe hitting the child does not work. But
Does not
again,
work.
the first
Mm.
time the teacher in the kindergarten stared at my child, or the teacher hit my child or held my child's ear in the kindergarten, why did I go
Mhm.
complaining as a mother or a father? My parents didn't do that. My parents said, दो और लगाने थे.
Wait a minute. That's true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
so I
Oh.
think let's stop blaming them, and remember, when you point a finger at somebody, all the rest of the three are pointed towards your own self. So as
Ah,
parents,
बिल्कुल,
first
बिल्कुल,
let's look at our
बिल्कुल.
own selves.
Wonderfully said. That's correct. That's something which I came to know today is that it's wonderfully said. Now, now when it comes to kids, I can understand there are very good kids who listen to us and who understand what we are saying. But I have seen a couple of kids, especially, being very aggressive in nature. How much of, even between the siblings itself. One kid is very calm and listens to us. Another kid is very aggressive. He or she gets angry very soon. They don't listen to us. They don't. And I'm telling you one thing, Neha. Going to a child psychologist is still a stigma in India. No
Oh
doubt about it,
yes, absolutely.
right? So if we know that that kid is having some psychological issues, still there is some kind of thought that अरे इसको लेके जाऊं तो क्या होगा, what the people will think.
Yeah.
If that kid says to somebody outside that mama papa ने मुझे psychologist के पास counselor के पास लेके गया, तो what the thing will happen to the kid?
Yeah.
So here in this question I have two questions to you, that why is that that particular couple kids are like that when the same parents are doing the same thing to both of them, but one is like this, one is like that. And number two, why is the stigma still continuing, and how to do the changes, and what is the best way to do it?
Wonderful question again. I'm just in love with these questions. They're very relevant, and I'm so happy that I'm getting a chance to speak. Allow me some time because this is going to take a bit of explanation.
Please,
So I'll
please.
go to your first question and I'll give you an example which everybody can relate to.
Hmm.
So the father is a doctor,
Mhm.
mother is also a doctor. Very high flying careers, both the
Mhm.
parents have. Two siblings. The elder
Hmm.
one looks at the parents and says, I have to be a doctor. They have
Okay.
such wonderful careers. The
Mhm.
child is slogging, slogging, slogging to be the parent. Then
Mhm.
comes the younger sibling. He
Mhm.
looks through his frame at these three people. My father has no time. My mother has no time. My brother has no life of his own. The
Mhm.
entire weekend he's only, preparing for medical entrances. He's finishing his assignments. Oh my God, I'm never going to take up science. I'm never going to be a doctor.
Okay.
Two children, same family, or from the same parents. How are they
Hmm.
so opposite?
Correct.
Yes, this is to answer your question. One is aggressive, one
I,
is not aggressive. So I'm giving a very
very.
layman example. Your experience is who makes you. We've all learned through our experiences, we've all learned through our observations, and
Mhm.
how we respond to those experiences and observations. So one child said, I will be calm like mama, she's a happy go lucky person. The
Mhm.
other said, I will model my dad. He's aggressive and he has the power and the control in the house.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay, one could be this. Now let's look at the second thing. We
Mhm.
always learn, it's called the ABC of parenting. There has to be
Mhm.
an antecedent to a behavior and then a consequence.
Okay.
What are parents doing? The child is not behaving well, the behavior is not right, there is a consequence, which is a punishment. But the parent is not trying to focus on what is leading to that behavior. What is the A
Oh.
of that B, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So
Uh-huh.
once I know that my child is aggressive, there has to be an antecedent. It could be an angry grandparent who's always grumbling around and the child is left in the grandparent's custody. It could be my maid or my governess who fights with her husband every day when my parents go away to work and the baby is observing that. It could be my parents quarreling because of time or fatigue or whatever the reason is, monetary issues, 100 reasons why parents fight. Where is this aggression coming? Or is the aggression coming because I feel I'm not being noticed enough as a child, the other sibling is taking away all the attention.
Attention. Hmm.
So there always, I'm just giving random examples, there has to be a reason for aggression. And
Mhm.
trust me, Jyoti, the more we look into this, you will always find aggressive behavior in a child's environment. 85 to 90% in such cases, we identify the source also in the environment. The father
Oh.
keeps saying, हमारे घर में तो कोई गुस्सा ही नहीं करता, but पता नहीं हमारे बच्चे में इतना क्यों aggression है. The moment he steps out of the room, the poor mother sobs and says, my husband is a very angry man.
Acha.
So
So
these
you're
are
saying you
things.
have to go to the root cause of this problem
Please,
instead of
please look at
analyzing
the
from
root
the.
cause.
Ah.
Yes, right. Then luxury, too much comfort, a generation of convenience. This is what we've made them. बेटा ये बटन दबाओ, देखो स्विगी होगा, बटन दबाओ देखो जोमेटो होगा, बटन दबाओ घर में सामान आएगा, बटन दबाओ टीवी चलेगा, चैनल चेंज होगा. They want everything like this, instant gratification.
Instant.
Now when mama says it will take 10 minutes to cook something for you, the baby is very angry. Why everything is functioning like this? Why are you slow? I feel anger. So
Absolutely.
there are, some in our environment, some in the house that we live in, some around in friends. So there are a lot of reasons that are influencing a child. So please look at it as adults around a child. Coming to the second part of the question, so psychological help being a taboo. First,
Mm.
let me tell everybody that if a child is aggressive or he's super angry or the child is cursing at a young age, that is not a mental disorder. That is a behavioral disorder.
Mhm.
So that does not mean your child is mad. like most of the Indians think मेरा बच्चा पागल है.
Think, think.
Okay, second, a psychologist and a psychiatrist are two different people. You may not have to medicate a child. You may just have a child speak to somebody who can give some kind of counseling, some kind of therapy, some kind of pep talk, or maybe just an ear that as a parent you're not being able to give to your child.
Absolutely.
There's music therapy, there is art therapy, there is sports therapy nowadays available for children. So it is, why are we just looking at as medicine treating disorder? No, it
No,
is giving a healthier environment and a healthier and safer space for a child to express his issues, his concerns, what is bothering him. So I would really urge, to every listener today that please allow your child that benefit, that luxury of going to an expert if need be. We are trained to help you. Why are
absolutely.
you not shy to go to the best Levi's store and the Apple store and best boutiques and show to the world that I take care of my child so well? But when my child is suffering inside, I say no, no, no. What will people think? You keep suffering.
Very true.
So the
Very true.
change has to happen here first for them to change.
Absolutely. That's the sad part, Neha, because I've seen people who are, very normal to say, hey, I have cancer. But
Yes.
it's still a stigma to just say that I am an anxiety patient. They're not even saying, forget about schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, that's too much. Like, I'm having an OCD, that is also considered, they don't say it out. मतलब ये अभी तक है. You can't deny that it is not there. It is still there, and that's why I think we have to come out, and even schools and everything should adopt to have some psychologist, like in
Yes.
other countries, couple of countries who have for child psychologist as a part of schooling part. So that's a different thing now. And thanks for talking about this, because people who are watching us and will watch our show later when we broadcast it will understand this very important thing, that going to a psychologist does not mean you're getting a medication. It's just a
Absolutely.
therapy.
And I'd also like to say that schools have started taking a lot of such steps. I think almost all good schools have counselors today, psychologists today. Also, parents to please note the fact that very big celebrities, very known celebrities, are running helplines today for OCD, for depression, for anxiety, for bipolar disorders. Why? For domestic violence, for child abuse. Why? Because most of them have been victims, and they are not
Absolutely.
shy to come and tell the world. And let me please quote Deepika Padukone, who has gone through massive depression, as helping thousands of people today through her NGO, through her
Absolutely.
helplines running. So she
Very
wasn't shy to come and say that it's a monster that creeps out of somewhere and swallows me. But why, as parents, do we only react when the child has taken a drastic step? Jumped off probably the building or eaten something wrong. Why do we wake up as parents only then? Why not take action in time and avoid
That's the
such
sad
drastic
part.
steps? So I think it is for parents to weigh, balance, and see what is more embarrassing, a child or more painful, talking about the mental health of your child with an expert, or having the
Mhm.
child take a drastic step, getting into addiction, be it drugs or gadgets, or taking away their lives. So you as parents take that decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a very delicate issue, but parents have to put in their hard work to understand the kid.
Absolutely.
So, coming back to another topic which I really want to touch upon is this pandemic and going back to school. Now, this many schools are opening, and I think in another few months, most of the schools will open. Now, how is the educational system should handle kids now, or the parents should handle kids now? Because it's not going to be normal. I'm talking not about the kids who are in teens, but the kids who are very small, who are going back to schools, and they don't understand the effect of what it is, because it's again you're going back to regular schools and they don't
Yeah.
know the psychological thing changes. So uh, as to all the parents and to all the educationalists who are running schools, what do you want to advise them, what do you want to suggest to them as a psychologist?
So I think I work in the education industry, as you know, Jyoti, and I'm very
Mm.
close to schools. I do a lot of work with almost 1,500, 2,000 schools across the
Oh
globe.
wow.
I'm giving you the inside story. Schools are very equipped, they're very careful, they're very sensitive about the issue. And the beauty is, like I have always been saying, teachers are the new heroes. You know, the way
Absolutely.
they have taken charge is phenomenal. They have come ahead and said, children, you remain at home, we will come to schools and take your classes so that they can be beamed. You know, who does that? So hats off to them, and I would like to say two very important words here. The first
Mm,
word is trust, and the
mm,
second word is communication. These are two very important things which will lead us back to offline school now. Trusting the system,
mm.
trusting that our children will go to a system which is wary of the effects of the virus, which will
Okay.
take all precautions like creating bubbles or staggering meal times,
Mm-hmm.
smaller groups or cohorts of children,
Mm-hmm.
maybe two shifts of schools in larger, schools with larger sections, maybe two different times of classes, maybe parallelly running offline and online classes. So I'm sure schools are also thinking of innovative ways. So first we need to trust them and support them. Every time we ask questions which are useless, we are only wasting their time and increasing their trouble in taking care of our children. So let's trust them. In these 2 years, had these people not been there, our children would have been left uneducated. So let's give them their due. When it comes to communication, that is the most simple yet the most effective tool that human beings have been gifted with. So parents to speak to their children. Children are very smart. I think I have seen from right from 2, 3 years old to teenagers
Ah,
who will first sanitize and then open their tiffins. Who will be careful about wearing masks. So I think children are very
very true.
wise. We
Very
just
true.
have to keep reminding them, keep
Mm-hmm.
checking, not controlling, but keep checking that the protocols are being followed. And one very important thing: please don't be a selfish parent. I'm sorry for saying this on on a live show, but if your child shows symptoms, please worry about the other children and keep your
Oh,
child
so
at home.
correct.
Nothing will change,
Absolutely.
in a week or 10 days, but so many lives will get negatively affected or impacted if we are not careful. So,
Very.
otherwise, I think it's going to be a very welcome change, Jyoti, in terms of going back to school with that physical energy being present, children being able to see other children, being able to get some human contact, see their
Ah,
teachers, their mentors, play games, eat together. So, I think I see a lot of positivity in the schools reopening, and I
very
really
true.
wish a lot of good luck to the schools and the children to, continue some good work in the coming
Very true.
times.
Very true. Very true. So now you are a parenting coach. You are a career counselor. You're a psychologist. Which field you feel very close and which field you think you love so much? Because when you're doing couple of things, you'll always have that that connection of, yeah, this is, you might be best in everything, but somewhere you'll always feel connected. Like I do radio, I do live shows, I do many other
Hmm.
things, but somewhere I feel connected when I'm doing this particular show because I'm bringing on different topics and different kind of women achievers, and I feel
Yeah.
connected to them. And this
True.
is something which I wanted to do the society, instead of doing some celebrity, some Chiranjeevi, some Amitabh Bachchan country will only say, that everybody does, but
Yeah.
something like this is for the society. So what do you feel happy doing in this, all this kind of things what you're doing now?
So I think, Jyoti, psychology will remain an underlying feature to all the things that I do, whether it's hardcore psychology or career counseling or parenting. I think that is one thing that everything revolves around. That's very close to my heart. But if I was to choose one, I mean, if you urge I do, then it'll be parent coaching. Reason is, I think being a parent, when you feel the pain, when you feel the pinch, and
Mm.
somehow in life you stumble across a solution to heal that pain, to solve that problem. As a parent, you really want to help other parents.
Wonderful.
And
Great.
I will, I think I was blessed to have a very difficult child, a very beautiful but a very headstrong child. Very. Had she not been so headstrong or difficult, I would never have taken to this career.
Parenting coach and
Every
all.
time we had a dialogue, every time there was an incident, I was forced to reflect upon what am I doing wrong or how can I do this better.
Oh,
There was always a conflict of who will control, where will the power remain, with me or with you. So there are times you have to give in to that power, there are times you have to take that power back. So I think this is very close to me because it has helped me evolve as a human being, and that parenting will always do to you. Every day it will remind you to be a better human being because you're modeling your behavior. Your child is modeling you. Whatever you do is what the child will do. It's
Very
very
true.
close to my heart.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for putting it forward. Also, I think people who are into parent want to know, have your kids to a perfect counselor to understand you, and also the parents who are going through a lot of issue now. New generation parents are very much confused because of nuclear families. They're not able to handle the kid. So if you have any particular doubts, you can connect with Neha, where we have put her descriptions in the this her social media handles are available. She'll be available to you in her social media handles. You can connect with her and later to have a one-on-one conversation. This actually will help you and also your kids if they are going through, or if generally you want to know a couple of things. You don't have to go through it, but generally if you have some doubts or something on a particular issue, you can just talk to her. It's wonderful. So before we end the session, it's almost 26 minutes, and I didn't even feel like that. The show was very flawless. And one final question I just want to ask you, Neha, is um, tell me, why is that women always feel that guilt that I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good daughter, I'm not a good wife. In spite of doing so many things, especially I've noticed during this pandemic days, uh, a mother is always guilt. The mother or the wife or the daughter or daughter, somewhere she's doing everything, but still she's also an employee somewhere, or might not be also. But still she has that guilt of being a perfectionist, or feels that I'm not a good wife, I'm not a good mother. That guilt is still going on, and the women, and the middle-aged women, which is like you and me, are not happy in that quotient. So, what do you have to say to all the women out there who are watching your show now?
I would just like to say, stop being so judgmental to your own self. You are so loving, so accepting, so forgiving when it comes to your spouse, your family, your children, your bosses, your colleagues, your neighbors, everybody around.
Hmm.
But when it comes to you, you don't spare yourself. You are strict, super strict. The benchmark that you've kept for yourself at times is so intimidating that you lose the battle even before you've started. And why? Psychologically, if I was to tell you a fact, when we see psychometric, when we do psychometric tests, Jyoti, you'll be
Hmm.
surprised to hear, we actually notice that men or boys tend to overestimate themselves when they're applying to jobs. And women who are very, very, fit and eligible for a particular job end up underestimating themselves.
Underestimate
So when
themselves.
they fill up, they will discount themselves in all good areas, and boys may not know that information or have that expertise, but they will pull themselves up.
No,
Why is
very
it
true.
happening? Because again, sadly, it has been a part of our culture. As a woman or as a girl, when we started our journey, we were always under scrutiny. How is she as a daughter? How is she as a sister? How is she as a cook in the house? How is she as a homekeeper? Does she keep her space clean? Is she disciplined? What kind of clothes does she wear? What kind of friends does she have? Does she laugh too loudly? Does she go to out? Does she smoke? So every question, every statement just kept revolving around how or who she was. And unrealizingly, we started benchmarking everything. Oh, if I have to be liked, if I have to be validated, I should not dress like this. I should not be overweight. I should not talk loudly. I should not move out with men. So, somewhere it has become such a bad habit. I'm using the word bad, that today without validation, we can't function. And we forget to validate our own selves.
Yeah.
That is why we go 4 times to 5 times to our husbands to ask, खाना अच्छा बना है, मम्मा अच्छी लग रही है, ये रिपोर्ट ठीक बनी है. Because we've forgotten to validate ourselves. We've only learned to get the validation from outside. So to
Very
each one of you listening to me, and us in this age bracket, you're beautiful, you're unique, you're strong, you are powerful, you're a creator, you create lives, you nurture lives. You have the power to inspire your children and make them do things that nobody can imagine. The way you back up your spouses in downtime, nobody can do that. Why don't you use that energy for your own self? A little self belief, a little self motivation, little self love, and you will see how things turn around for you. So start respecting yourself, start loving yourself, be less harsh, be less cruel to your own self, and I'm sure that the journey ahead will be beautiful. And you'll be unstoppable because you are made unstoppable by the Creator. Only we've put these limiting beliefs and these fears and these insecurities that keep pulling us back. The day we release ourselves from there, we are all out. And one concluding line I must say, there is no place a woman can be trapped. Not in a house, not in a jail, not in a job, not in a relationship. Nowhere. There is only one place a woman can be trapped.
Correct.
So the day you move out of this trap, nothing can trap you further. So just
Yes,
go all out and grab it.
very, very true. Women are unstoppable if they have the thing in
Absolutely.
her. They can control their own mind. Very true, Neha. On this note, thank you so much for coming to Women
Thank
TV
you,
India
Jyoti.
and having a wonderful conversation. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you for having me over, and thank you to everybody who's taken out time to watch us or hear us. Thank you.